Hello. I have a journal for 625 again. The second one of the day. Mayan day is still 7 Crocodile. And this one has some links in it. Okay. I'm venturing out here with something that can't currently be proved, since the advanced DNA science is one of those things being kept hidden. Well, I don't care. Soon, very soon, our intuition will not only be strong enough, but quite accurate. Our sixth or seventh sense is coming online. We'll find these things out directly. It's time we quit vesting any trust at all in the official story on anything. All we get is lies. So why waste our time with it? I'm all for the alternate media. Now, sure, you have to be careful. Some of it is really way out there, even for me. But you're far more likely to find accuracy and truth, good information there. The major media puts out nothing but lies. Mankind is in process of forming our third DNA strand. You'll find a rather wonderful crop circle video, which I've linked to. You'll find some pretty clear images in support of this idea. The way the third strand comes in is to triangulate with the current pair of strands, the double helix. So instead of 2, soon there will be 3. Once we get the third strand fully formed and then ignited, fired up, we'll have quite an adjustment to make. Consider, it's a 50% increase in our DNA, the code of life. And that's really huge, almost unimaginable. I don't know what it will bring, but increased and new abilities are almost certain. In my work with medical intuitive and healer Ken, I've learned a bit about how this works. It's the bare minimum, but it's more than I previously knew. Apparently, it takes some time for the body to create the third strand, which it does incrementally. Even when the third strand is almost complete, it isn't active, or what he calls ignited. I'm quite sure we'll know when that happens, but just as an example, as I've mentioned before, he says my third strand is over 90% complete. If that's so for me, then it's also the case for, who knows, likely millions of us. The government, in their various efforts to get DNA samples from all of us for their big databases, isn't telling us why they're doing that. And even if they did, it wouldn't be true. Mouth moves equals lie. As usual, they're playing that hand too close to their chest, considering that we're the funders of all that they do. Anyway, I am not interested in cooperating with that. I don't want any more needles in my veins for anything. Well, beyond the mandatory blood testing each year to monitor my prescriptions. I wouldn't do that either, but without the pain meds right now, life in this body just wouldn't be worth it. The pain is really intense. Hey, we do what we have to, and we don't have to be perfect. I hope you've also given yourself permission to just be. Anyway, who can say what third strand ignition will be like? Maybe that's what happens to people like Byron Katie or David Icke, those who go through really wild and intense awakenings. I don't know, could be. That's kismet snoring if it comes through. What's important here is these images. So do click over to the transcript so you can watch the video. They help us to see and thus be able to visualize how the strands come together. Once we have the main 3 I expect we'll get a good bit of breathing room to incorporate and fully adjust to those. Let's face it, this will be Mankind 2.0, a true and legitimate upgrade of our biology. Then, after however long it takes to get our sea legs with the new configuration, along will come the next upgrade as we move on to the full potential of 12 strands. This might not even take effect in this lifetime, my friends. Just going to 3 strands is huge. We'll likely be perceiving a wider range of frequencies just to begin with, visual and auditory. It will probably feel quite strange. We've long lived in a world of duality. It's been the basic definition for 3D and the matrix for the sleeping consciousness. The double helix was a reflection of that. Or heck, for all we know, the double helix may be its origin. Remember, anything is possible. Don't close down. I mean, think of it. 2 ears, 2 eyes, 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 cheeks of either variety. Even your brain is split right down the middle. Duality is the way of it, or it has been. Now that we'll have the 3rd strand, that will have an effect on the duality. I never heard of a triality. I wonder what it will be like. Instead of the old either or, we'll be seeing a matrix of 3. What will it add? I don't know yet. This 3 will be reflected as we move on to the 12-strand configuration. As you can see very clearly in the crop circle images, one of them in particular, you'll know when you see it. Each one of the 3 strands will split out into 3 more, for an addition of 9 to the original 3, all built on the harmony of 3s. It's time to be meditating on that number, sensing into its sacredness. It has much to show and teach us. I've read and listened to a number of presentations on how this transition will come about. There's a lot of crazy stuff out there. The one I resonate with most at this point is Patricia Corey's Syrian Revelations trilogy of books, which, as you know, I do recommend. You'll do yourself a favor if you like reading to read these. They offer both the dark and the light side of things, not painting an overly rosy picture, as some do. And they get really detailed with it too, this whole DNA upgrade. Now, let's not be greedy, friends, and let's stick with our now, not trying to force the upgrade to 12 strands. We have our hands full, just accommodating the 3rd strand and the changes it entails. We are rich and wealthy enough with that. Yet, to get a peek ahead to what may be in store, well, the trilogy makes for a good read, if nothing else. How do we encourage and adapt to the new 3rd strand? While I don't know for sure, I have been shown a few things that could be helpful. One is clearly illustrated in cymatics, the science of sound's effect on matter. cymatics. The higher the note or tone played, the more complex the geometry that forms. Do familiarize yourself with this. We're placing important images into our consciousness, images that will help us with our future creations, images that will help keep them accurate, keep us on the road to truth. I was once physically shown or given a lesson on the effects of pitch while meditating in a supine position, since I found it hard to relax sitting up. I got into a pretty deep state. I don't remember the whole thing, but I do remember feeling my whole body vibrating even making a sound. It was very strange. I found myself playing with the tone of the sound, finding that if I raised it to a higher note mentally, the vibrations increased right along with it. It was so odd having my body seem as if it was plugged into or had become some sort of vibration machine. I remember lifting my arm, it was my left arm, up to my ear to see if the sound was actually emanating from the flesh, to see if it would be louder. That's when things began to get even stranger. Still playing with the pitch of the sound, taking it higher and lower, I kept raising my arm, and my eyes had been closed up to then. I was just wanting to hear. But then I opened them because I'm saying here, as I looked at my arm, it began to vanish from sight. I kid you not. What I noticed was, as I raised the pitch, the arm began to go invisible. It didn't just blink in or out, but faded gradually, all linked with the tone, with the note. So I played with this for a while, long enough to confirm that as I mentally raised the pitch of the note, my arm began to disappear. I think more of my body began to follow suit, but back then this frightened me a bit, so I quit. I had some very strange things happening while trying to meditate. Other things frightened me as well. Well, that was then, this is now, and I'm more than ready for this shift. How about you? Within heart, each one of us will find some things to be identical, such as unconditional love being the heart and soul of all creation, of the cosmos. If you want to raise your vibration, then process your fear and magnify love. We can complement this by working with sound and exploring the higher notes. Just get centered, for instance, and then go up and down the scale, humming, saying Om, however you choose. See how it feels to you. Tune in. Higher notes are at higher frequencies. This should be obvious. We're after those higher frequencies, so let's begin to make friends with the notes. I also have a cymatics playlist I'll link you to, seeing how these notes translate directly into beautiful and complex geometries can be a huge surprise. Who knew sound did that, right? Probably all of us at one point didn't know. Much of the cymatics work is done with water, it being so malleable. Now, do consider that water forms the majority of your biology, while you see how sound affects water. We are constantly affecting and being affected by one another, and also by the sounds we both hear and don't hear. Just as there are light frequencies our bodies don't currently pick up, it's the same with audible vibration. Double helix biology generally hears sound between 20 and 20,000 hertz, or cycles per second. I hear well beyond that, and I'm sure I'm not alone. There are sound tests you can even find online, not that they'd be terribly accurate, but they're fun to see what range your body can hear. The kids are really sharp in realizing that older bodies don't pick up the very high frequencies as well as theirs do. So they came up with the mosquito tones, enabling them to receive messages in class without the teacher being aware of it. You can test your hearing on those too. Soon, my friends, soon, I expect our DNA to have changed sufficiently that we'll begin to perceive wider ranges of frequency than before. So be alert. Join me in joyfully, delightfully watching for these changes. We can even expect them. To me, at least, it seems totally reasonable. You can't double your DNA and not have physical changes that go along with it. It's too bad the government is keeping this science hidden from us on DNA. You better believe they know about these changes that are in process. And if we have alien or ET DNA mixed in with our genome, you bet they know that too. It's patently obvious it's not rocket science. Yet they continue to treat us like mushrooms kept in the dark, isolated from light and from knowledge, so they think. Well, that's too bad for them. In the end, they will find that the one they misinformed and tried to limit was only themselves. Such things always boomerang. Those who don't realize it are the same ones who don't yet realize that all is just one, and all are that. The superficial separation that appears on the surface of life in 3D is purely illusory. Underneath, all is wholly entangled and just one. Love. Let us live in love and integrity, treating each other just as we'd like to be treated. Living the golden rule is one sure way to raise frequency and vibration. It also gives us a boost to have our eyes take in these beautiful patterns in the crop circles and in cymatics. It's enough to remind one that the world was supposedly created by sound, by the word. Wow. So let us sing the song of our life with full-throated enthusiasm and loving, living harmony. At the core of us is only joy and delight. Joy that's available to everyone. No one is excluded. All are just one. Nor do we have to wait for some special date or some rescuer from the sky to go within and come into higher consciousness. That too is available now. Always has been. Just waiting for us to see it and make our choice. As we unplug mentally from the seeming two-ness all around, the duality, the separation that abides on the surface of life here, we begin to awaken. Two-ness itself is a part of the lie, a part of the dance, the grand drama. We created it so we could play all these parts in it. Yet now so many of us are finished with this particular round. We're rising back up into our natural oneness, the underlying reality that's been here but hidden all along. We're reuniting with that. We're rolling up all of the lifetimes we've lived while enjoying the challenges and delights of life in 3D. We're putting the scroll, the wholeness of that, up on the shelf. We're moving on in consciousness. Now, we may well remain here with Mother Earth. Remember, she's making the same journey we are, higher in consciousness and frequency. In our new Earth, though, we'll finally have back our ability to commune with the elements, with the planets, the plants, and all beings. We'll perhaps be in our new playground. I don't know. But remember, in infinity and eternity, there is surely no end. So let's not be thinking we've come or are coming to some sort of final conclusion. This isn't that. The way I see it, there is no such thing. Our every end marks another new beginning. So let's put our full heart and joy and love and delight into the new creation we're all birthing, including we're birthing a new self. What wonders may we be capable of? Who knows, unless we reach out and try. Like a toddler, in some ways, standing up to take the first wobbly step, we'll be the newcomers to 5D. Yet, as soon as we get there, we'll surely remember how we've never left. We've always been there, my friends. We just chose to hide it from the self for whatever reasons we'll soon be finding out. What awaits us is joy and glory. Are you ready? If so, then find your way into heart. There's simply no need to wait. That third strand will come when it does. It's best not to try to force things. That doesn't pay off. Instead, go into heart. Heart won't have you doing such things. Let heart lead. Surrender to it. Let yourself be continually amazed by the wonders of life. I'll meet you there. Now, I know this is a little bit long, but I do want to add one thing here, and that is that vision is critical. Cherish your vision. Give your vision perfect, beautiful images to take in, to soak in. We create based on what we can conceive, what we can see. And so seeing and imagining is a really important step in expanding out into who and what we really are. There's no end to the wonder and the glory of that. Good day.